Hey everybody, this is comedian Paul Mercurio, and I'm very excited to say that I packed up my podcast, The Paul Mercurio Show, which wasn't my first choice for a name. My first choice was Go Ahead, Touch It, but apparently that didn't test well. Well, I'm taking my podcast and I'm moving it to the Alive and Social Network, which is weird because I'm neither alive nor very social. I've interviewed a few people you might know, like Sir Paul McCartney. Yeah, that guy. He was in a band or something, I'm not sure. Stephen Colbert, Bob Costas, Jay Leno, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kristen Chenoweth, and many, many more. I've won Emmy and Peabody Awards for my work on The Daily Show. I've had my own Comedy Central special, been on HBO, and I'm excited to be part of the new network. The Paul Mercurio Show is available on iTunes, Android, and available at paulmercurio.com. Listen to my show every week. Every week you will get rich. How? I give you a foolproof method to go out and make $100,000 without ever leaving your couch. Okay, that's a lie, but the podcast, it's good.
With Souhan Unfiltered, sports columnist for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, Jim Souhan presents in-depth conversations with the best writers and sports personalities in the area. Souhan brings professional journalism flavor without the verbal censoring. Find out what unfiltered really means. Only on the Alive and Social Network. SouhanUnfiltered.com.
It's the Tonight Show with David Letterman. Was that pretty good?
Except for that he wasn't on the Tonight Show.
I read the Late Show on here. I was looking at the Late Show and I said the Tonight Show.
Yeah, yes,
it's
you did.
the Late Show. You'll see the Late Show doesn't sound as good.
Let's quickly apologize. A little technical mishap there.
I thought you were going to
if
say
you're
for
listening live.
Molly.
And we'll apologize for Molly's terrible sense of
Okay,
humor.
wait.
No, okay.
Hang on. What's the Tonight Show with Jay Leno? How do they say that?
Never watched it. I don't know.
Okay.
But you can do here's David Letterman. That's how he does it.
I think so. I was trying to remember, but I couldn't.
Isn't that when he's usually running across the stage? Which, by the way, it was my favorite part of the David Letterman show, was when he would run to the other side and then come out. Has he ever explained that?
No.
And we're not going to talk David Letterman the whole night, by the way, guys. But
We've been talking. We talked about him for 3 extra minutes that you aren't going to hear.
Right, you guys, and that's why it's going to sound weird that it cut off. But sorry, there was nothing we could do about it. The computer froze up.
It's the Late Show with Jay Leno.
All right,
okay.
all right.
Let's
Now he's
move on.
crushing it tonight.
Yeah, I'm actually. You know when you just have those days where you can't think of names.
You have been having one of those days.
I'm having one of those days, and I'm usually just instant with names. And I also had one of those days where I'm sitting at my computer, and each of our projects are saved on the server, on our work server, under different folders. So each project has their own number, and then it's divided by the client and sub projects and whatever.
Makes sense.
Anyway, it was one of those days where I would stare at my computer for minute trying to figure out which folder I needed to open up.
And these are things that usually come to you quickly, right?
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
I usually move pretty quick. But I was traveling, so I was trying to get back in the mindset of work, and it was, and the numbers are like 146202-8. I mean, they're long numbers, and I have them all in my head. So
that's where you're at today. All right. Yeah, your brain is working very well. Which is funny, though, because we did talk about how we were on the same page. So that's scary.
Are we not on the same page?
No, I think we are. But that just shows that we're only on the same page when your head is fucked. That makes any sense.
Or you're fucked tonight, too.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. Well, I think I'm usually fucked. All right, before we are going to talk about that, we're talking about the Game of Thrones, that crazy scene, the finale of Mad Men. Not necessarily the finale, because I haven't seen it yet. I don't want you to tell me much about it. But I have come up with a couple of new themes. You haven't heard this one at all, by the way. This is going to be our sports theme. Now, not necessarily. You definitely get approval of this.
Oh, I haven't heard this yet?
You have not heard this one.
Okay.
No. And I bring this up because something huge happened in the world of sports last night, but we will start it out.
Well, let's say Minnesota sports last night.
Correct. Well, but this is the Minnesota Pubcast, so people should expect it to be Minnesota-centric.
That's true.
But all right, here is here's your first listen for
I'm
you
excited.
and the listener,
I'm
Molly
excited.
and the listener, your first listen to the Minnesota Pubcast sports theme. That's what I came up with for our
So you
sports
just
theme.
strung together all
Every sports
all
team.
major sports.
I could come up with. And then you didn't know what the piano was, though.
No, I didn't know what the piano
That's
was.
the Masters theme. The Masters golf music. theme.
I should have guessed. That's
So
the
that was,
Masters theme. Could they make it any more boring?
Oh, it's so perfect.
What
oh
the
my God. And if you are a golf fan at all, you hear 3 notes of that and you're like, oh my God, the Masters. Like
Well,
it takes
I
you
watch
straight
the Masters every year, but apparently I don't.
there. Now, and okay, you just made me feel a lot better about myself because I've watched golf my entire life. Always been a big golf fan.
Does
and
it smell okay to you still? Do you
Oh,
think
God,
it's
let me
drinkable? I
find
mean,
out here.
it's just sangria.
smells fine. It might be a
Smells-
little more boozy, but
Does it get okay? So
but I remember one day it might have been Mishki or it was like Suhan or
I'm just gonna drink a little bit of this.
yeah, find out. Someone played the Masters theme on the show, and they knew I was a golf fan, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you must love that, right?" And I was just like, "I don't know what that is." So you're not the only one.
Okay,
If
good.
you follow golf at all,
No,
that
I don't know
doesn't
what that is,
But anyone who knows sports themes would probably know what that is.
you're missing like 2 things I would love to have on there, but then it just goes. We could have lots of things on there.
Well,
But-
okay, and that was kind of the joke. That's way too long. And by the way,
Don't-
people, I have a dating theme that's far too long, and we'll get to that
He
too.
Send me
not,
a
not
minute,
tonight.
a minute and a half teaser.
I think I added 10 seconds to it today.
No,
but
because some of it isn't even funny in the context. Some of it is funny.
this is going to be up to the listeners too. But all right, so I realize that's kind of pushing it. I just did that to be
Okay,
funny. So, but here's my shortened Minnesota Sports
Oh,
Cats
okay.
sports theme. I love it.
I love that one. That's my favorite.
So there you go, the condensed version.
The piano is so out of place, but it's so
That's
funny.
what I love about it. Yes, that's why I threw it in there.
Do we like the NFL the one the best? Is that the one we like?
Dun,
Yes.
dun, 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 dun. Yes, that is the NFL on CBS.
That is the best one
That
for
is
sure.
what-
I get so pumped when I hear that.
So what's funny is too, and I could have split this up. I didn't know if we'd really talk about it tonight, but the NFL on Fox and MLB on Fox are pretty much the exact same song. Like they just barely change it up. So come on, Fox, get a little more creative. But so there you go, sports theme.
I
The
would have
reason-
liked some Rocky or Chariots of Fire in there, but then that goes too far in the movies. So
Exactly. And then we're crossing
We're
themes
crossing-
there
we're
because we're going to
crossing
have a
the
movie
themes.
theme. We're going to have a dating theme. And I made a movie one, and I hated it. You're never even going to hear that one. It sucks. But I'll make a new one. But so anyway, so I played the sports theme just because for the first.
Can I send you some of my favorite movie soundbites
Yes,
of all time?
absolutely. Yes.
Okay, thank
Input
you.
is always looked forward to.
I'll send you this would be cool. This would be awesome. What we should do is we should each name our top 5 whatever movies, 3 to 5 top movies, and pick our favorite parts from them, and combine them into a teaser.
I like it. I
Is
like
that
it.
cool?
And even if what we should do, let's come up with 5 each, and then we can play with it.
I
Because we
already
might
have
not be able
mine.
to find some. Or,
I already have mine right in
right.
my head.
All right, perfect. And YouTube is so good for that. You can actually get pretty much because the way I
Perfect.
used to do that back in the day was there's all these websites that just have like movie clips and TV clips and all these things, and I would just go and just download those. And then I actually somehow kind of realized, oh yeah, this is all on YouTube, and it's even like clipped down to what you basically want. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
unbelievable how easy it is to find these things. But anyway, so I bring this up because big day in Minnesota sports yesterday. The Timberwolves actually finally get the first pick in the NBA draft.
Oliver, should we do a Timberwolves howl?
Come on, Oliver.
Can you go? Oh, that was so good.
That was a scream almost.
Wasn't that horrible? That was good. You should be the mascot. You should be the mascot.
Oliver in the house, everyone.
Yeah.
So I bring it up just for 2 reasons. Basically, one, it's the first time it's ever happened, ever, in the history of the Timberwolves, which, thinking of their mediocrity, that's crazy.
That isn't. That's crazy.
Well, number 2 reason is to bring that up is that the NBA lottery is fixed. Do you understand? Do you know how it works?
Yes. I would love. This is why I love the NBA because it's so fucked up.
It really is. It's so dirty.
It's so dirty. It's so cool.
Okay, so the NFL draft, they've turned it into an entire weekend of television, right? The NBA draft actually has suspense because the NFL draft, everybody knows who's 1 through 32 That's how you start.
Yep.
Because it just goes by your record. In the NBA, they take like the bottom 5, and then you get like a percentage chance, and you get ping pong balls in a hopper, and you draw the balls, and that's how you find out, right?
Sure.
Wouldn't that be pretty good television?
Yes.
Pretty fucking sweet, right? Like ESPN could do 3 hours on it.
Like an old man turning the Powerball.
Exactly. The exact same thing.
B-52.
But so you take the Powerball drawing and spice it up and make it 2015, and you jazz it up ESPN style. You have a television event. There's no way they're not doing that because they're too stupid to, or they haven't thought of it. Like, there's no fucking way. They know that then they can't get away with giving the Cavaliers the first pick because LeBron's going back, or blah, blah, blah. So, and here's the conspiracy on this, right? So the Wolves get it. That's obviously not a conspiracy, right? Like, that's definitely not, fixed. Well. Okay.
Go ahead.
Here's where I'm going. Apparently, I'm not an NBA expert, so if you are out there and I'm wrong, tell me. But it sounds like the first 2 guys are kind of 1 and 1A. Like they're if you get the second one, you're just fine, right?
Fine.
Guess who got the number 2 pick? The LA Lakers. So the way, if you're cynical like I am, you just go, they still got the number 1 pick. Like, great, Minnesota, hey, we got one, and now we can't really screw it up either. But the NBA this is how smart, and this is the new commissioner. I think he's really smart. I think you still fixed it, but you made it look like you didn't fix it, and everybody wins. Like, and the fans win, the league win, everybody wins. Like, so the whole rigging thing is actually pretty smart if you do it right. But again, I think you're wasting that off-season chance to have something interesting, even though it's not off-season. And it is weird that they do this in the middle of the playoffs. Like, the NFL milks everything, and they just make it, over the whole year, even through the off-season. It's an NFL draft and blah, blah,
right.
blah, and then
right.
OTAs and all that. So the NBA, it's almost like it's run like the NHL. Like, it's just, guys, you're missing out on a huge opportunity here.
Yeah, I mean, they don't care, though.
But you know what?
They don't care.
And it didn't occur to me until right now, but if you're going to say, yeah, for one night, we could have a great event, and then the 82 games of the season suck because it didn't go the way we would plan it, or we'll just plan it so that the season rolls out the right way.
That's why the NBA gets so boring sometimes, though. As much as I would like to watch it, it's like, you always know who's good.
No, the NBA sucks. It's a horrible sport. No, I'm kidding. But I just don't enjoy it.
But do you feel better about our team because we got the number 1 pick? I mean, who do we have now? We're gonna have whatever his name is.
We have Wiggins, the rookie of the year.
We have KG.
We have KG, who, if he's healthy, hopefully will be a mentor.
Rubio.
We have Rubio, who I think we need to let go. He's never going to be the guy we thought he'd be.
Rubio.
But then we have the kid
Lakers.
who. That's actually probably where he would go. But then we have the kid Levine, who won the slam dunk contest. I think it's God. And then we have Shabazz Muhammad, which was a high pick a couple years ago too. They got a decent squad. And that was my buddy and I actually were talking about this. Geez, this is more NBA talk than A, I've done on a podcast, or just B, done off air in a long time. But I just said, you know what? Maybe the Wolves could get the first pick this year because they do have some kids. Like, they got some studs. Sure. Throw one more in there, and maybe you kind of give them a team, and that's fun for the league.
We're going to have a redesigned Target field center.
Yes, center, not field. But yeah.
Whatever. Just...
All right, before Molly falls asleep, because it is getting late tonight, folks. But
tired.
So now, do you know about the controversy surrounding this Game of Thrones scene?
I do. I mean, I didn't even have to
read
your
it tone
to
already.
know.
I like the way you're almost dismissive of this,
Because
and I like that.
I read one article and I was like, I fucking get it. I know why there's the controversy, and I totally agree with the controversy.
You mean we should boycott Game of Thrones?
No. I don't mean that. I just mean I understand why there is the controversy. I don't believe in boycotting the show. The show is always pushing the boundaries, and is always shows graphic rape and graphic murder. We have to expect that. But the best article I read on it was, that's to be expected. We shouldn't necessarily get offended. We should get offended when the rape does nothing to move the storyline along.
Well, gratuitous rape would obviously be horrible. Like, yeah, that it's completely unnecessary.
But that's what that scene was.
Was it though? Is that not? Because to me, it's okay. So first of all, if you're not caught up on Game of Thrones, skip ahead a couple minutes. But you have So the the Ramsey kid, the that's now the head of Winterfell, basically, raped
Warden of the
Sansa,
North.
which is his new wife, and this is the first time you see him be himself toward her. I think that's a important moment, and I think that it couldn't have been something less dramatic. It had to be something as awful as rape for you to really just go, oh, yep, he's back to himself. This is a guy that cut off a guy's dick and turned him into a slave.
But that's the point, is he has always been that bad.
Right.
And she knows he's that bad. She's going into this knowing that this guy murdered her family.
Yeah.
And he's a horrible person.
Well, he's the son of the one that murdered her family, right?
Yeah,
Because he wasn't actually involved in
his family
that.
carried it out. The
Yeah.
Boltons carried it out.
Right.
And he has done plenty of other horrible things that she is well aware of.
Sure.
This isn't a surprise to her, and this isn't a surprise to the audience, and I think that's why it was so unnecessary.
Okay.
And this isn't a surprise to Theon, her brother. It was just...
I agree
was
with
gratuitous.
that. As an audience member who has watched Game of Thrones from day one, I didn't need to know he was such a bad person because you already he's
That's what I'm saying.
he's the
I
worst
didn't need to know
human
that.
being on earth. But I guess the only way I could see them just or explaining it is that Sansa needed to be shown it. Like
No.
now I know what you're saying, that she knows his history, but I still don't. I don't think she would have been nearly as open to this whole idea of marrying him if she really knew how fucking evil he is. I don't think she does know exactly how bad he is.
She does know, and she, more than anything, didn't want to go into that marriage, but she knew that she had to, and she has a plan in place, and this is part of it.
Yeah, and this is just a step. And maybe that, too, maybe that's another way they could justify this, is that this just increases her fury down the road here. Like, this is just a stepping stone toward her getting huge revenge on all this.
Absolutely.
So, and I guess when I watched it, maybe I just wasn't surprised at all because of who he is.
Either.
So, but the controversy is a little bit surprising to me, especially when you have a fucking senator start talking about it. But guys, if you've watched this from day one, this can't be shocking. It just can't be.
No, it can't be shocking, but like you said, to me, it was gratuitous. I already understood his evilness, and it wasn't. This sounds very strange, but Joffrey was evil. We know that, and it was almost always fun evil. Like, ooh, how icky can this guy get? And how threatening can he get? And like, there was something about Joffrey's evilness that was like still entertaining.
I think there was something about his age. I mean, what, he's supposed to be 15 or something, 14?
Maybe in the relationship.
And there's something to like a boy burning ants with a magnifying glass. Like he's just, he'll grow out of this, maybe kind of a thing.
Right. And it was just kind of, and his relationship with the rest of his family, which was super fascinating. His mother and his uncle / father.
Yeah.
There was something that wasn't sickening like Ramsay is. And Ramsay has just gotten to the point where I was kind of like, when that scene happened, I immediately sat up and I was like, okay, I'm ready for this guy to be gone.
Oh, I can't
Like,
wait for him to be gone.
this isn't fun anymore. I'm not saying that the Jaime Cersei scene was fun. I'm not saying that any of the rape scenes were fun. They're always disturbing, but it was just unnecessary, and I was just ready. I'm ready for him to be out. I'm just just get rid of him.
In here, but maybe this is the show that, again, spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, but this is the show that the first season killed off the best character.
Yes.
I think that this might be a reverse of that. They're going to keep this guy around as long as possible. He is going to be kind of one of these signs of just pure evil in this fictional world that is the Game of Thrones. I don't know. I guess I don't think it's that controversial. I totally understand what you're saying, where it was almost redundant. It was just unnecessary. But I don't know. Even the actress that played the role in the scene said she liked it. How it was so twisted and dark and fucked up. Like, I don't know.
It's the one I was referring to was VanityFair.com. Game of Thrones absolutely did not need to go there with Sansa Stark. And it says, if we can say one positive thing about the scene, it's that Alan, who plays Theon Greyjoy, nailed his performance. Theon's horror mirrored our own, and and the camera focusing on his reaction let our minds fill in the blanks. But as little as any of us wanted to see Sansa physically punished and exploited, was it really important to make that scene about Theon's pain? If Game of Thrones was going to go there, shouldn't they have at least had the courage to keep the camera on Turner's face? That's Sansa's actress. Oh yes, this is where she said they love doing those scenes. It was really kind of horrible for everyone to be on set and watch. Horrible because this rape scene undercuts all the agencies that's been growing since Sansa's. Okay, you know what? Can I just stop
Since
talking
she
tonight?
arrived in Winterfell? Is that where you're going?
Yes, at the end of the last season, exactly. Since she arrived in Winterfell.
Huh. Well,
Okay, I never advocate that Game of Thrones or any work of fiction shy away from edgy plots out of fear of pushback or controversy, but edgy plots should always accomplish something above pure titillation and shock value. And what exactly was accomplished there?
and I wasn't titillated or shocked. So that's what I don't think that's what they were going for.
Alan said in the interview that the story would position Ramsay as the new Joffrey. And then probably me followed closely after that. But haven't we had ample time to understand the depths of Ramsay's depravity?
I mean, when he's sitting there after he cuts Theon's dick off, and then he's eating the sausage on the plate, like,
right?
You don't need more than that, right there. You pretty much got that guy nailed down.
Right.
But again, I don't think that the creators of Game of Thrones would actually think we'd be shocked to see him rape Sansa. Like, I don't think they were doing it for that. There wasn't a rape scene to like be a shocking rape scene.
So
like
so it wasn't shocking because he was already evil, and it was just showing that he was.
I think she nailed it in that art. Or I'm sorry, I don't know if that's a guy or a girl writing, but I think she's nailing it with it's about watching Theoren. That's his name, right? Where he's forced to watch, and we're all feeling that same.
We already know that he is subjected the dinner last week.
But don't you think this is all turning him toward him not being the slave anymore? Don't you think he's eventually going to kind of like grow a set, which he obviously can't. But I think that's what this is. I think this is the starting of that.
I think the dinner scene accomplished that last week. That super awkward dinner scene where he essentially made Sansa. Made him apologize to Sansa for killing his brothers, and I mean he's been humiliated, and Sansa knows that he's been tortured, and Sansa hates him,
right? And
Theon knows that Sansa hates him. There was nothing accomplished, and it also wasn't shocking because it was expected.
Okay, well, I guess either you're right, or we'll find out down the road here that this somehow goes somewhere. I guess I don't know where it would go, but right. All right,
they team up and kill him. I don't know.
Well, that guy needs to die. Ramsay does need to die. Everybody believes that. Quickly, Mad Men wrapped up. I told you this off air last week, but I finally went back and watched. I'm on like episode 5 or 6 now, 7 of the first season of Mad Men. I had my reasons for not liking it the first go around years ago, but I can't believe that. I mean, I know I was going through a breakup, and I was actually watching it with the ex-girlfriend at the time, so you can obviously see my state, my mind state. But even in that crazy mind state, I should have been able to see how fucking good this show is.
So
like,
good.
Oh my God, is that writing and the acting and everything so well done?
Can you hear me on here? Okay.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I just feel like maybe I'm just deaf and.
I think that's it.
Deaf and dumb tonight. Was that politically incorrect?
Well, unless you meant... Well, yeah, because you're not supposed to say
like...
dumb if you're mute anymore, right? Are you even supposed to say mute? Can you say that?
Yeah.
Or is it vocally challenged?
I don't know.
I don't think you're supposed
mute
to...
is right.
I feel like mute is like midget.
I've never met anyone who's mute.
Good point. Neither have I.
Who's
so this is why this doesn't come up very often.
There's not that many mute people out there.
Not a lot of mute people out there.
And isn't mute when you... It's a mental... blockage from talking, or can it also be a physical blockage?
I think it's both would be considered mute, yes. But again, I don't think
if you've been traumatized and you no longer speak.
Or call that. Right.
My eyes are just kind of like just this.
I know they're getting heavy. All right. Well,
like
we'll wrap her up, but we're coming back tomorrow night, right? We that's in the books because I only have to work till like 2 or 3. So
yeah, we'll be back.
Right. So we'll be back tomorrow night, and I'll get this. Well, you don't even know. I'll get the show all put together here.
We didn't even talk about the Mad Men finale, but I'm glad that you're glad that you're liking the show, and
Well,
it was an amazing finale.
The whole point is that I get however long now until it comes out on Netflix,
do.
so I'll just take that much time to watch it.
You do.
Perfect for me.
Have fun. It's a great journey.
I am so pumped. All right, we'll be back tomorrow night. Thanks for listening. This is the Minnesota Pubcast. Molly Burke, Jason McGovern. We out.